He did not study the enemy first. He studied himself. After Sun Tzu reorganized the Wu army, 30,000 soldiers rebuilt from collapse. He picked up his brush and wrote one sentence: know yourself before you know your enemy. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither, you will lose every battle. Most people think it is about war. It is about the gap between who you think you are and who you actually are. He wrote it in chapter 3 of The Art of War. Most generals read that as strategy. It is not. It is the most honest thing anyone has ever written about why people keep losing. You keep failing the same way. The same argument. The same procrastination. The same promise you break to yourself every Monday morning. And you tell yourself you just need more willpower, more discipline, a better system. But that is not the problem. The problem is that you do not know yourself. You have not known yourself for a long time. And every system you build on top of that blind spot fails the same way the last one did. You think you are someone who wakes up at 6 a.m., but you hit snooze. You think you are someone who finishes what you start, but your desk is full of abandoned projects. You think you are someone who values honesty, but you lie to yourself about how you spend your evenings. You think you eat well, spend wisely, and use your time with purpose. But the numbers in your body, your bank account, and your calendar tell a different story. The version of you that keeps failing is not weak. It is just unseen. The enemy is not your boss, not your past. The enemy is the person who hit snooze this morning, the one who said tomorrow. Again? You cannot close the gap until you see what is actually in the mirror. But seeing yourself clearly is only the first step. The harder part is what Sun Tzu said comes next. You already know what you should do. That is not your problem. Your problem is that you keep running from the person who keeps failing. Sun Tzu called this the deception of the self. The enemy is not always outside you. Sometimes the enemy is this story you keep telling yourself about who you are. The story says you are disciplined, but your calendar says otherwise. The story says you are ready, but your results say otherwise. The mirror does not lie. You do. Think about the last time you promised yourself something simple. I will wake up at 6 a.m. I will not check my phone for the first hour. I will say no to that request. And then the morning came. Your alarm went off, and you made a choice. You told yourself you deserved the extra sleep. You told yourself just 5 minutes. You told yourself tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow comes and you make the same choice. He taught that the enemy is not always outside you. Sometimes the enemy is the story you keep telling yourself about who you are. The story says you are disciplined, but your calendar says otherwise. The story says you are honest, but your browser history says otherwise. The story says you are ready, but your results say otherwise. And here is what most people get wrong. They think self-knowledge is therapy. They think it means sitting in a room and feeling your feelings. That is not what Sun Tzu meant. Self-knowledge is data. It is watching what you actually do, not what you wish you did. It is measuring the gap between your word and your action. And it is admitting that you have been lying to yourself about where the problem actually lives. The struggle is not that you cannot change. The struggle is that you will not look at what needs to change. You keep staring at the enemy outside you, the boss who does not appreciate you, the partner who does not understand you, the economy that is working against you. But Sun Tzu said the first victory is the one you win against yourself. If you cannot win that one, the rest do not matter. But Sun Tzu did not just diagnose the problem. He had a method, and it is not what most people expect. Sun Tzu wrote that the commander who knows himself does not need to guess. He does not need to hope. He simply acts according to what is real, not what he wishes was real. That is the transformation. You stop defending the story. You stop explaining why you are not there yet. You simply look at the evidence. Your alarm went off. Did you get up? Your project had a deadline. Did you finish? You said you would stop checking your phone. Did you stop? The answers are not accusations. They are data. And data is the only thing that can free you from the loop you have been running for years. You cannot fix what you refuse to name. You cannot change what you refuse to see. And you cannot win a battle against an enemy whose location you will not admit. Sun Tzu understood something that most people never will. The enemy you fear outside you is often just a mirror. The boss who does not trust you is reflecting the parts of yourself you do not trust. The partner who does not listen is reflecting the conversations you avoid having with yourself. The economy that feels hostile is reflecting the plan you never actually wrote down. You do not need more motivation. You do not need a better morning routine. You need to sit in silence and ask yourself one question. What have I been pretending not to know about myself? The answer will not feel good. It will feel like failure. But failure is just data. And data is the beginning of winning. He knew this because he lived it. Before Sun Tzu ever walked onto a training ground, before he ever commanded an army, he spent years studying his own instincts. Where he moved too fast. Where he hesitated. Where his confidence was performance and where it was real. The art of war was studied by generals for 2,500 years, not because Sun Tzu was fearless. Because he was honest. Because he looked at himself without flinching, and then he acted on what he saw. The mirror has been waiting. You just kept walking past it. The question is whether you will stop today. So here's where you are right now. You have been fighting the wrong enemy. You thought it was your boss, your partner, your bank account, your past. It is none of those things. The enemy is the version of yourself that you refuse to see. Sun Tzu said that knowing yourself comes before knowing the enemy. Not because the enemy does not matter. Because if you do not know your own weaknesses, you will carry them into every fight. And they will be exploited. Not by the enemy, by your own blindness. You do not need to become a different person. You need to see the person you already are. The one who hits snooze. The one who says tomorrow. The one who knows the truth but looks away. That person is not your enemy. That person is your starting point. That is the only honest place to begin. Most people spend years waiting to feel ready before they look honestly at themselves. They want the courage to arrive before the mirror does. But Sun Tzu did not wait to feel brave. He looked at what was real and built from there. That is the only way it has ever worked. You do not need to like what you see. You just need to see it. Every year you avoid the mirror is another year you fight blind. And fighting blind is not courage. It is the most expensive habit you have. Most people pay for it for decades without realizing what it costs. You cannot close the gap until you admit where you actually are. I know myself before I know my enemy. I know myself before I know my enemy. I know myself before I know my enemy.